Josh and Kwab, your go-to NBA podcast. Subscribe on Apple, follow on Spotify, and be sure to hit up the YouTube channel for video content. And now your hosts, Josh and Kwab.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Time After Dark. Josh and Kwab. You know it's late outside. You know it's late.
Yeah, it's late up.
You could be anywhere in the world right now, including your bed. But you're here with thank you for that.
Oh, we're so good.
Try not to go around right now. Kwab, how you doing, man?
Chilling, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm at the dark, baby. Staying up late. We got a whole show for you planned, though. We're going to turn these into regular episodes. We might as well, right? I mean, we're going to talk NBA basketball with anyone in the chat. If anybody wants to say anything, have any questions, interact with us. The last 3 Dime of After Darks, we had a lot of people in the chat. We were, answering questions, responding to comments, all that good stuff. So make sure you do that now. You can follow us everywhere at the Dime NBA. Tuesday night slate, Kwab. Now, tonight's slate, I'll just put it up. We're just going to put it up right now.
Yeah, throw that up there.
Oh, what is this?
Oh.
What is this?
Oh,
boom, that's better.
There we go.
The late game was the Suns Blazers 127-110. Suns win. Warriors lose to the Magic 113-121. Pistons beat the Hawks. We did do a video on that 120-112. Celtics 113. Nets 99. Shout out to you, Kwab. Get that draft pick, baby. Kwab's a Nets fan, for those of you who don't watch. Get that draft pick. Take the Mels, baby. Take the Mels. Spurs don't miss a beat without Wemby 111-101 over the Grizzlies. Lakers 140, Jazz 126. We'll get that in a second. Quick, I want to hit on the Suns, man. I want to show the Suns some love. We haven't shown the Suns love at all right now during the Dime, which I think is pretty sad. We try to hit every team. Kwab and I, our strategy is basically to recap games of consequence. So if like 2 really good teams, especially in the same conference, are playing, we like to hit on those games. Like, so for instance, we did a review of the Pistons Hawks today because those are 2 Eastern Conference teams that have been on fire lately. And we figured that it would make a good episode. It would, be of interest. But the Suns, man, beat the Blazers. They look pretty good. I didn't realize how good defensively the Phoenix Suns were. Not going to lie. Very impressed with them defensively. Dylan Brooks picking up Deni Avdija from the start, basically face guarding him. The Blazers never really got into a rhythm. They were missing their guards, though. So when you're missing Drew Holiday and all of your point guards, it's kind of hard to get any offense going. And Caleb Love, he had his best game as a pro, did his best. But at the end of the day, the Suns, man, they're a team that is knocking on the door in our power rankings. I don't think they're in a top 10 yet, but definitely a team that deserves some love, Kwab.
Yeah, they started out kind of rough, but they look like they've turned it around. Defensively, I put them in preseason because they played preseason against the Nets in China, 2 games, I think. And I could tell they wanted that kind of identity. And I guess with having a Dylan Brooks on your team, like he brings that kind of attitude.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks is the most vindicated NBA player in the longest time. And look what the Grizzlies have become. He was that culture.
He was, man. The narrative has flipped since Dylan Brooks has left. Crazy. It's very crazy. But like with a Dylan Brooks, who else they got? Ryan Dunn, who was a great defensive player coming into the league.
Yeah.
Royce O'Neal, also another good 2-way player. They have different pieces. So being able to do that, and Book has been a model of consistency throughout his career, and he still is. So they have another sneaky good team that's in the West. The West is tough. You can't sleep. You can't sleep here in the West, man. You mess around, you're gonna lose a game, and then all of a sudden you're in the play-in, and then you're out the playoffs.
Yeah. No, but I'm really impressed with what I see with the Suns, and Devin Booker, I think, doesn't get enough credit there. Very good defensive team. They're running the ball. They're playing fast. And they beat a Portland team who I think was surprising to some in the beginning. They're not healthy. Portland's a team that I feel like needs everybody. If they have some players on the injury report, I think it's too much for them to overcome, and you saw that today. Now, we do have a comment here. Dylan Hardy says, I'm not buying the Magic, man. I just don't have faith in them, even after tonight's win. What would you say to change my mind about them? Kwab, you take the floor here. You believe in the Magic. I do.
What about the Magic, man? They have pieces all around. They have defensive pieces. They play a very aggressive defensive style that works in your favor. They added shooters, or I say a shooter in Desmond Bain, another player that Memphis misses. Um, they're a good team. They're a good team, and they're doing this without Paulo. The thing with the Magic is that they have to figure out how to consistently win with Paulo and with Franz. I feel like they've been able to do it with one or the other, which is weird because their games kind of don't they
Clash.
do clash. I don't think would you see those two players like, oh, game clash? I don't view that at all. But the numbers, the analytical numbers have come out, and people are like, well, they don't fit together, and people always make comments like, oh, they need to get rid of one or the other.
I think I don't say Paulo's the problem because I think Paulo's a better player, but
Yeah.
Paulo gets tunnel vision, and Franz
Yeah.
can play off ball. I'm not confident in Paulo's ability to play off ball as I am with Franz, and I feel like Franz can kind of adapt to whatever. Where Paulo, like we saw like a couple of games this year we've recapped where it's kind of like he's played so well at times where he gets into the paint and he's driving, he's kicking, he's looking for other players, but then there's times where he literally just bulldozes his way into the paint, tunnel vision, and everything kind of falls apart there.
Yeah.
I do think they both can coexist, but Paulo's young. Like this is he's still like entering his prime. He's not even close to his prime yet. So I think have patience with him. I think you have the talent on the roster. You just kind of have to figure it out. But I will say this, the Magic did beat the Knicks earlier this year. And in that game, I saw a Magic team that was very inspired defensively, getting after the ball, made it hard for the Knicks to break the perimeter. The point of attack defense for the Magic was great. And that's how they've been for the past 2 years. And I think if they get back to that identity and maybe not so much trying to be more this offensive team, I think they can be a pretty dangerous team in the Eastern Conference. I'm with Dylan. I'm not buying them as much as you are, Kwab, but I do think like you mess around and you could find out in the playoffs, for instance.
Yeah.
Like they can sneak up on you, especially this year in the East where I don't think there's a dominant team.
Yeah, I think we always talk about when it comes down to the playoffs, matchups matter, right?
Yeah.
And you're a team if you run into them with the defensive pieces they have and even the offensive pieces they have, you could end up losing a series.
Yes.
I can understand if somebody feels like they don't believe in the Magic as much as like most people do, but like they're on a little bit of a run right now in terms of wins. So they're tough, man. They're tough. They just had the game against the Rockets that went into overtime. That was a very winnable game for them too. So they're a tough team.
Yeah, and they've been playing better. I think a lot of people were jumping out the window because they lost like a few games early on, and people are like, oh, this isn't working. You got to give these things time.
Yep.
Give it 15, 20 games, Dylan. If you're a Magic fan, give it a few games. See how they are after 20, 30 games, 40 games before you start making proclamations. I mean, we saw last year the Indiana Pacers are basically a 500 team up until January. So these things can change on the dime, especially when, new people are adjusting. Yeah, dime, like that, right? Yeah. So give it time. I don't believe to that extent. I don't think they could win the East, but I think they could be dangerous. No. That's just me, though. All right, let's move on. Lakers beat the Jazz 140-126. I think the more important story here is LeBron James is back.
LeBron James.
If you're in the comments section, let me know what you think of LeBron's performance. If you watched it, I'll tell you what I thought, Kwab. This Lakers offense is so much more dynamic with him. He's such a good passer. He has such great court vision. In the third quarter, he took over the game by just passing the basketball, running the break, getting into the paint, finding open open cutters. Like he brings such an extra dynamic to the Lakers. And to me, that's what they needed. You have a team in the Lakers who are going to be very pick and roll heavy because they have Luka, because they have Austin, because they have LeBron. Right now, it's obvious that JJ's deciding to put LeBron off the ball right now and have him playing off the ball, which I think is probably the smartest thing to do. And he looked I wouldn't say phenomenal, but for somebody who has sciatica in his 40s, he came back and he looked great.
Yeah, I think the that's been most from like Ron coming back is DeAndre just having multiple playmakers on the floor that can find him for easy shots. We saw he got a bunch of easy layups, and I think it was like a stretch. Because I was watching that, I was also watching a little bit of the Portland Phoenix game, but there was a stretch where LeBron hit a three, he got a post up, made a no look pass to DeAndre, and then like you said in the third quarter, he had a stretch where he just kind of took over, and to have two players with double double figure assists, like LeBron with 12, Luka with 10. Like that's great. Like, and Austin Reeves didn't have like an assist game, but he's also a very unselfish player.
Yeah.
You dynamic players you have on the court, the better it is for you. And to me, he looked solid coming back from sciatica and at being the old. He looked like there were many stretches. It was like, oh, yep, that's LeBron. Yeah,
It's crazy. He can play for another few years. I'm not kidding. Like this is absolutely insane. Now the Lakers, where they're going to run into problems, I think, is I don't think they're as athletic as other teams are. So when you play like an OKC team, I think you can get run out of the building possibly. Defensively, I think they're going to have some issues there. I mean, they had a hard time stopping a Utah Jazz team in the first half. The Jazz pretty much got whatever they wanted. The Lakers were scoring, but the Jazz were too. So for me, that's where I think a lot of their problems are going to lie. But they do have the ability to also kind of dig in defensively and play good defense as well. It's just, can they do it consistently? What DeAndre Ayton are you getting? But, LeBron comes back. He plays, let me check it here. He plays 29 minutes, has 11 points and 12 assists, 1 turnover. So basically he decided to get some cardio in and just be a distributor and play point guard for the day, which, listen, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. I love that version of LeBron, somebody who finds open teammates and makes everybody's life easier. So it was a solid night from LeBron James. Kwab, do you think having this type of LeBron changes anything about the Western Conference, about what you think the Lakers could do in the West?
Oh man. Well, in terms of what? Because to me, it's kind of under and everybody else. So it's I feel like it makes them a better team, obviously.
Yeah.
But the point you made stands. Like, they don't feel as athletic as other teams, but they still come with a bunch of questions in terms of the type of consistency you're gonna get from DeAndre Ayton or Javia had a great game today. But like, what are you gonna get from him? What are you gonna get from Ruri? Course of the season, like, all this is needed. Like a Jared Vanderbilt, like specific role players. So that all factors in. But you have Luka, you have LeBron, you have a chance. Like, that's out there.
I guess that's what it is. Yeah. All right, let's move on. I want to do every time I change topics now, I want to do this.
Let's move on.
Playing? Here we go.
You got music. I'm not gonna play though. You gonna play the theme music every time?
Every time we change topics. All right, Kwab.
That's like the
Let's
music you play when
somebody's
speech is going too long, and you're like.
Let's move on to the Hawks, man. They lose to the Pistons tonight. Now, this is a conversation we had in the reaction video, but I want to have it here as well. There's been a lot of rumblings that this Hawks team is probably better without Trae Young. Now, I gave you my thoughts on it. I'll give it again. This team has been playing really well with Jalen Johnson. Zachary Ricochet has been playing well as well. He didn't play tonight, though, because he does have a hip injury. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has stepped up as well. This Hawks team has been playing balanced. Okongwu's been hitting the 3. Just a lot of good things going on in Atlanta. And a lot of Hawks fans, or a lot of NBA media, is floating the idea that, hey, maybe, Quinn Snyder and company they're building this team up so that they can move on from Trae. I've seen some media outlets say that. I've seen some Twitter, Reddit post about how some Hawks fans want to keep him, some don't. I'm on the side of, you got to have Trae Young on the Hawks. I don't think this team's ceiling is as high as it could be if Trae Young is off of the team. This is an Eastern Conference that is up for the taking. I do understand the defensive limitations you have with Trae Young, or what you perceive to have with Trae Young. He is small, not that great of an on-the-ball defender. He can be picked on in the half court. On top of that, offensively, his shot selection can be terrible, but he is a threat. He can stretch the floor. He can get hot, and he can take over a game. On top of that, he is somebody who's probably top 3, top 5 players with the ball in his hands off of the pick and roll. At times can be unstoppable. We've seen that. So for me personally, I understand the hesitation of bringing somebody in like a Trae Young who would probably end up commanding the offense. However, I do think it lifts your ceiling, and I do think it is necessary to bring him on and acclimate him to what you have going on. Trae isn't somebody who I think would play that selfishly where he's going to make it all about himself, where he's going to continue to take these bad shots after bad shots to the detriment of his team. I do think he can buy into what he's seeing. I do think that if he fits in, you bring back KP's been hurt. You get in a healthy Atlanta Hawks team. I think this team becomes very intriguing. I don't know how good they can be, but I don't agree with this fact that I think a lot of media members are, starting to spread that this team should move on from Trae Young, that Quinn Snyder and the front office want to do that. Now that I don't know, that could be something that's been going around. I have no idea. But from my perspective, you got to keep Trae Young. You got to, I wouldn't say necessarily build around him, but maybe acclimate him to what has been going on, because the Atlanta Hawks, they have been playing really good basketball. And yeah, they caught an L today, but they were missing a lot of their players. And they just, to me, the way the East is shaped right now, they absolutely have a chance of upsetting a few teams here and there, and then you never know. So for me personally, I'm team keep Trae Young. If you're in the chat, let me know what you think of the Atlanta Hawks and what they should do. Kwab, I'm curious what you think.
I'm team keep Trae Young also. Like you said,
Okay.
we spoke about this a little bit in the recap when we did with the Hawks and Pistons game. If you haven't watched it, go watch that. Leave a comment, all that jazz. But the one thing you said about is this team like necessarily they just need to integrate them to what you're doing right now. This team is basically built for Trae Young. To me, like, this is the type of roster you would want around a Trae Young, right? You'd want defensive wings that can also score, like, so two-way wings all around the court, bigs who you can run pick and roll, pick and pop with. Like, you look up and down the roster, this is the type of roster you would want a Trae Young in, because like the point you made, like, in terms of his defense shortcomings that people like to highlight, you have all these players on the floor, there are defensive players that you can essentially quote unquote in sessions. You have a Dyson Daniels who can who's capable of pressing up on the ball handlers throughout the course of the game. Adding Kelly was another good defensive player. Like you spoke, Zachary Ricochet, the most unspoken about number one pick in the history of the NBA.
No one talks about him ever.
No one talks about it. No one talks, like he's been steadily improving. Jalen Johnson, he was just the Eastern was it the player of the week? Yeah. Right. He's been having a phenomenal season. Like, these are the type of players you would want around a Trae Young in terms of side and offensive side. Now you throw in a KP, who's a big that can play inside, play outside. Onyeka had a great game today, and where he was also hitting threes, and he's also a lob threat. Like, these are the type of players you would want around a Trae Young, and knowing that Trae Young has the ability to create for other people, but also score. Like, it's the perfect fit. So I don't necessarily understand why the talk about is like you start to hear whispers, and the whispers are like getting a little bit too loud for my liking. I don't necessarily think that would be a good idea. I think you give this roster a chance, because this feels like the right fit for a player of Trae Young's caliber.
Yeah, I agree. And I think sometimes, fans, when a team goes on a winning streak, they go, oh, we found something, and this means that this person was a cancer. That's not necessarily true. I think it can be true. Don't get me wrong. I think there are times where it's like, oh, wow, addition by subtraction. But I don't think that's the case here with the Hawks. I think the Hawks are just a very talented team. And I think you're seeing that, Trae has help here. Like, Jalen can take over if need be. Nikhil can score the basketball if need be. Zach is taking a step forward. Okongwu is hitting the three-point shot more than he's been hitting it, Kwab. I mean, I looked at the percentages. He's shooting like 38% this year. He's been 32, 33 his whole career. I was correct about that. He's like massively improved. That's
like 4 percentage
That's
points.
A lot, bro. 5% on your three-point shots. That's improving dramatically.
You still living in baseball numbers, man.
No, man, that is improving. To go from 32, 33 to 38, 39%, that is a massive improvement.
That's a great improvement. You're right.
Yeah,
that is a great improvement.
100%. He went from like slightly average, below average to a well below above average 3-point shooter. So to me, I like this Hawks, man. I like the Hawks. I like the way they play basketball. I love Jalen Johnson's game. Zach has fit in. Luke Kennard off the bench. They have shooting off the bench. They have players off the bench. I'm team keep Trae Young. I know there's a lot of controversy around it in Atlanta. Some media members are starting to pick up on it, but for me, I think it's too early just to say, all right, go ahead and trade him. The idea is that Quinn Snyder and company don't like him or don't really F with him like that, which I don't know if there's any proof of that. I'm not in the Atlanta Hawks back channels to know much about that. But to me, I think it would be silly to give up, Trae Young or anything right now without seeing what you have there first. Now, we're going to get to this comment here by Dylan. He asked another question. Are you worried about the Warriors? And if things don't look too bright by midway through the season, should they blow it up? I'm not worried about the Warriors in the sense where I think they're, going to fall off of a cliff. The Warriors are interesting because the past 2 years, I've always been like, oh my God, those are contenders. And then I'm like, oh my God, they're terrible. Like their floor and their ceiling fluctuates so much with me that it's hard for me to really get a grasp on them. Like if you watch some of our recap videos earlier in the year or even our power rankings, I'm like, oh, these guys are contenders. The way that, Steph is looking, he still looks great. Jimmy seemed to be more aggressive scoring the basketball. Kuminga seems brought in, they signed him to this deal and he seems to be running what Steve Kerr wants him to run. Will Richard has been a freaking godsend. Like there are a lot of good things about the Golden State Warriors right now. And also they've lost games without Steph, without Dre, without Jimmy. So their record is not as they aren't as bad as their record is right now, which is even bad. They're above 500. So I'm not worried about the Warriors, so to say. I just can't figure out what I think about them. And so to answer your question, Dylan, I'm not too worried and I would not blow it up. I think you just make tweaks at the deadline and see what you have there. Because to me, you have Steph Curry, you have Jimmy Butler. They're aggressive. They're scoring the basketball the way they are. You have a chance. I mean, this is a team that was a hamstring away from going to the Western Conference Finals. Who knows what happens in that series against Minnesota? And I think a lot of people forget that. Like, this is a team that could have easily been in the Western Conference Finals last year. Jimmy Butler comes over at the trade deadline, and they're one of the best teams in the league. So, got to stay healthy, got to get acclimated together, and Kuminga has to stay on track, playing the way that Steve Kerr wants him to play. And then I think the Warriors can contend. And I think, they can make things interesting in the West. Kwab, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you on that because the Warriors always feel so confusing because they'll start off the year and be like, well, they have a very, very deep team. It looks like they're going to be a contender. And then like, oh, what the heck am I watching this team? But they go through highs and lows, but like again, they have Curry. So, well, I know it's a simple answer like you have Steph Curry. If that's going to be the case, I think that midway through the season they might make a move. I don't necessarily know if it does involve Kuminga, but
yeah,
they've always made moves around the trade deadline just to shore up the team because they want to maximize Steph's peak or Steph's time on the Warriors. Like you're not out here trying to like mortgage for worried about the future. They tried the whole 2 timeline thing. We saw that. We're like, oh, this team has to, and that just went right out the window. So I feel like they might make a move. Maybe this is the year to actually trade for Lauri Markkanen and they include
that
Pods.
Should be the move. That should be their one focus right now. Like I'm shocked they haven't gotten by now. They should just hurry up and make out. They have to. This is disgusting. You guys just looking at each other, jumping at the party all day, looking at each other. Just make out, bro. Like you guys love each other. You were meant to be together. We've been talking about this for 2 years. You're the couple. You're the 2 people in school who have been flirting for the past 2 years. Everybody knows y'all want to make out. Just make out already.
But everybody's worried about the possessive boyfriend that doesn't want to let go. Danny Ainge. Because he asking for too much. Danny Ainge, bro.
Danny's scary. I wouldn't mess with Danny's girl. No, I would not. You're right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Doing too much. Like he asking for too much. They might make a move because they want to maximize the championship window. They always do that. So I feel like that's gonna happen. Yeah. But like you said, their floor and their ceiling is so confusing because it's like there are times I watch them, I'm like, yo, this is a championship team. Like I watched them the 2 games they played against ultra competitive. Like Steph was balling out of his mind.
Yeah.
Then follow up on another game where Moses Moody put up a 30-point game. It's like, okay, and you see that they have depth, they have a bunch of players, but then it's like they throw up some of the wildest stinkers. I'm like, what the heck are y'all doing? But it's the NBA. It's 82 games. It's a long season, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And also, there were a lot of injuries too. Let's not forget that Steph was out for a few games, and Jimmy missed a game. Draymond missed a game. So I'm not worried about them. I'll give you a team I am worried about though, Kwab.
Talk to
The
me.
Los Angeles Clippers.
Ah,
yeah, this was a team I was
really?
very wrong about going into the
Shocker.
season. And usually it takes me a long time to be like, okay, listen, there's been 30 games, 40 games. Now I'll admit it. We have what are we? They're 4-10 right now. And
It's early, right? It's early. Anything can happen.
no, I'm calling it, man. I
already?
Bradley Beal's out for the remainder of the season, so there goes that. You lose Norman Powell. John Collins has been good since he's been, but it's just they're old, they're slow. Kawhi's not playing. It's just this is like time of death, man. This whole era with Kawhi Leonard, whatever it was with Paul George, and now James Harden, it's over, man. It's over. It's done. The Clippers are done. I'm calling it 14 games into the season. It's early. Now I admit that it's early. And I don't like making proclamations early, but this is the one proclamation I'm going to make. They can't score the basketball in the half court. They're uninspired. They're not as good defensively as they were last year. I mean, that was their main strength last year, was that they were really good defensively. I don't like this team, man. I really liked them last year. I picked them to beat the Nuggets in 7 last year in the playoffs. I was wrong about that. I picked them to, I think, be a 3 or 4 seed this year. Disgusting. Like, I doubled down on them. Gross. I doubled down. I doubled down like on a 16 and got a 10 and got 26. That's what I did.
I'm gonna pat myself on the back when it comes to this again. When it comes to Clippers, my Clippers hate has been very accurate as it was between them and the Pelicans for me, because I'm like, those teams are gonna falter one way or another.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna be this early. But it's looking bad, man. It's looking really bad.
It's over, dude. It's over.
Like, what did Ty Lue say? They're without your third best player, which was supposed to be Bradley Beal, which again, it felt like an insane statement to say, but
it just their offseason made sense to me. You get a backup point guard in Chris Paul, who's been there before, like can like steer the ship for the second unit. Brook Lopez, good stretch big. John Collins, was always a talented. Like it just made sense.
I remember when we did our over unders, I said the same thing. I'm like, all these moves make sense. They're gonna stink, and you were right.
I was wrong. I was so freaking wrong.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's a Clippers curse or something. I don't have faith in them. I don't know why. And then it's coming true. And the craziest thing about this whole thing right now is that if they keep losing, who has your draft pick? Oklahoma City, Sam Presti, you madman. First of all, that's not even that. It was like you're switching topics, but like he has the Clippers draft pick outright. And also he has the Utah Jazz draft pick top 8 protected. So there's a chance.
The man's a thief.
He could have these which is supposed to be the best drafts in years, to add to a team that's already like stacked.
It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's insane.
It's stupid. But to the Clippers side, I don't know if it simply comes down to so does Philly too. Yeah. I don't know if it comes down to Clippers if they just have to if they're just hoping Kawhi comes back healthy and
that's the only thing. Kawhi comes back and he's a top 5 player in the league and he can carry your offense. James can kind of take a secondary role. Zoo continues to play well, and
like you kind of fall back to what you were doing last year with having the backcourt of James and Chris Dunn, and with like a good defensive backcourt, like, and then have the way John Collins has been playing. You kind of all steps in. Don't they have Bogdanovich?
Yeah.
I forgot Bogey's on the team too. Like they have all these pieces, especially your bench. Your bench on paper, it is better than some.
Yeah, they're better. The Clippers bench is better than the Brooklyn Nets.
Nah, let's relax. But we don't. We don't gotta say it. We
No,
don't gotta say.
Dylan says,
We
"What
don't
do you
gotta say
do?
names.
What do you do if you're the Clippers? OKC owns your picks, and so does Philadelphia. What you do, you blow it up at the deadline.
But
You have
how? Like,
to.
it's like
It's over. It's over, dude.
their players that have are like expensive too, with the apron and all. Like it's
Yeah, I would have to. I would have to look at the contracts.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the contract. It's tough because it's like apart from who do you want? What team is looking like? What are you looking for from that team?
Draft picks.
Who do you want? What old man from that team do you want?
If you're a team that feels like you need to stretch five, you get Brook. If you are a team that needs some pop off the bench, you get. They just signed John Collins. Like I said, I don't know the contracts. I don't know the contracts.
Like it's like what do you do?
Yeah.
But they're gonna have something.
Dia says poor Clippers.
Yeah,
Do you feel bad for the Clippers?
No. No. Feel bad for my team. Listen, I feel bad for them. Sit here and watch my Nets win 1-2 games in the place. The Clippers will figure it out. If they don't, oh well. Like it sucks for somebody like James Harden.
I feel bad for Clippers fans. She adds.
Yeah,
I do too. I do too. You had these two errors back to back. You had Lob City with Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, all those guys. And to me, there was one year in particular that they could have won it all and they didn't.
Yeah.
And then you had Paul George. You had that whole era where the year the pandemic hit, I had the Clippers winning it all that year. I was convinced the Clippers were winning it all. And then they blew the 3-1 lead against Denver. You know, there was a time for a year or two where I think you could have made the argument the Clippers were the best team in basketball for a little bit. And now look at them, man. Paying Kawhi with funneled extortion money. Just not a good look.
Look, I think maybe my not disdain, but my trust of the Clippers came after watching them in the bubble and watching them just kind of just falter in that 3-1 lead. And that was that Paul George hitting the side of the backboard, all that. Like that was a whole that was crazy. And they never really recovered. I mean, I remember there was a stretch when the year they brought in before when they brought in Russell Westbrook and they were playing actually decent.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought in Harden and then they were having they were struggling. Then they figured it out and it was like, okay, well, they might have figured it out.
Right.
And then Clippers clipped. And every year Clippers go and clip, man. It just goes downhill.
Sad. I really enjoyed them. I enjoy them when I lived in LA.
It's early, man. Anything can happen.
I'm calling it, bro. I know it's early, but it's
early.
It's over, bro. I'm comfortable saying this one.
82 game season,
man, it's done.
82 games.
Man. No.
Anything can happen. It's not.
I don't think so. I
have no faith. That's a wrap.
All right, listen, that's going to do it for Dime After Dark. It is late. We went over all the games today. The Blazers, sorry, dear, they did lose to the Suns. It wasn't a competitive game. That was a late game. LeBron made his debut. We covered that. But stay tuned next week for more Dime After Dark. Also, we want to do more live streams with you at more reasonable hours. So let us know when you are available for a live stream so that we can talk with you. We can rap to you, all that good stuff. Yeah, I also feel bad for Blazers fans. Me too. Brighter times ahead, though. Oh, by the way, shout out my boy.
I was about to say you didn't even.
Shout out to my boy.
Like you didn't holler at your boy.
Hold on. Yeah, Young Hansen.
Holler at your boy, man.
Yeah. Solid performance today off the bench for the Portland Trailblazers. Soon, we'll be taking over lead. Young Hansen.
We will be taking over.
I love him. I love him so much.
We will be taking over the league. It's so wild, but yeah.
I love him so much. All right, well, listen, you can follow Dime with the Dime NBA. We'll be back next week for another Dime After Dark. More live streams, more game recaps, all that good stuff. Power Rankings dropping this Friday. See ya. Peace.